How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you guys for returning, and let's get this ball rolling. So today, I wanted to change it up, not going with the whole horror movie thing, but it is still going to be 80s. And I mentioned it in the first video when I made that mistake when I said that Sean Astin was in The Lost Boys, and I was talking about the Goonies. So today, we're talking about the Goonies. Um, Goonies came out in freaking 1985. And the movie itself was great. Like, one of the better adventure movies that you could ever watch. It's pretty cool. Stephen Spielberg killed it. I believe this was around the time he was working on the Indiana Jones movies with George Lucas. And don't quote me on that because I know they did work on a few movies together. Anyway, the way the movie opens is pretty sick. Um, we go into this jailhouse in the middle of the town. They're in Astoria, and you see Robert Davi. He's playing Jake Fratelli. He's hanging from a pipe. Guard comes in to come check on him to see if he's gonna eat lunch or breakfast or whatever. And dude's hanging in there by his neck. My boy walks over to him like, "Oh, this isn't good. Killed himself." He goes and he sees a note and he opens it up. It says, "You schmuck. Do you really think I'd kill myself?" When the cop looks up at Robert's face, homie uppercuts him, knocks him out. Turns out he had a pipe behind his back that was suspending him there. So he gets that all off of him, unties himself, and he starts to head out. He has to go get his stuff. On the outside of the prison or the jailhouse, you got his mom, played by Ann Ramsey, Mama Fratelli. She's the getaway driver. And then Joe Panthiano, I'm really not sure how to say his last name. Dude from The Matrix, the asshole from The Matrix, the one that likes steak. He's playing Francis Fratelli. Sick ass shit. This motherfucker, he's outside lining the front of the jailhouse with gasoline. He hops in the whip. Robro's on his way outside, walking all quick and shit. He has to go in through the sunroof. And your boy, Cypher, he pulls out the gun. He shoots the ground, igniting the gasoline. And now there's just a big ass fire around the entrance. So the cops can't even chase him. So boom, Mama Ramsey, she bones out. Sorry, Mama Fratelli, she bones out. And she's going off, driving all through the town. And then this is when we get a chance to see each one of the characters, each one of the kids that's going to be a part of this movie. We get to see our players at this point. Now, before we even get into who those people are, I want to talk about how this woman escaped. This had to be, she really must have planned this shit. Like, she must have known. She pulls up to this spot on the beach. Just a bunch of trucks there, like monster trucks, big ass wheels, ready to drive and whatnot. Her little 4-door fucking SUV, a little minivan or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't a minivan, it was a truck. She pulls up and acts like she's part of the race. Cops lose her on the beach because she blended in so well with everybody else. Daring ass escape. And the fact that they fucking did it just proves she's the real brains of the operation. And boys don't know what the fuck they doing without her. It was a nice continuous shot. Getting to see all the parts of the town. It's cool. Eventually, though, we do get introduced to the main characters of the movie that we follow around. Brandon, played by Josh Brolin, they call him Brand, and then Mikey, played by Sean Astin, he plays the little brother. These two are the main focal point of the movie and their dynamic together as brothers. But we also get introduced to Mikey's friends, Mouth, Data, and Chunk, and they each show up one by one, and they're played by Corey Feldman, Key He Hui Kwan. Hope I said his name right. I probably screwed it up. And then Jeff Cohen. Um, Mouth's supposed to be like the cool guy. Fucking Data. Data loves 007, and he's constantly making different gadgets and stuff, which is ironic because I don't remember 007 ever making any gadgets. It was always Q that made his gadgets. Whatever. They be calling him 00 negative. It's fucked up, but it's because his inventions, they be fucking up, bro. Like, he uses a zip line to get to Mikey's house, even though he lives next door, and breaks the screen door. And then Chunk's fat. That's his whole shtick is that he's fat. It's pretty fucked up. Like, it's so bad when he pulls up to the crib. He wants to get let inside, but there's a whole mechanism that's set up to open up that gate. Fucking Corey Feldman sees him and says, "It's Chunk." Jerk alert. Like, yo, that's supposed to be your friend. Whatever. In order to let him inside, he has to do this thing called the truffle shuffle. For those of you who do not know what the truffle shuffle is, I'll give you a moment to go look that up. Just pause this video, go look up the truffle shuffle. All right, you're back? Cool. They all go inside the crib. They're hanging out. Somebody comes looking for the dad. The reason why he's looking for the dad, it's because they're foreclosing on all the houses in the area, and Mr. Walsh is one of the last people there whose house is going to be foreclosed on. Played by Keith Walker. He actually looks kind of like a Who in the movie. His wife is played by Mary Ellen Trainer. She plays Mrs. Walsh. And they they have a maid, a woman that they hired to help them with all the cleaning and stuff for the house because, as Mrs. Walsh says, she wanted the house to look nice when they go to tear it down. So she hires the woman that killed Selena, Lupe Antiveros. She plays Rosalita. If you haven't seen the Selena movie, go watch that too. It's not bad. But the actress that played the woman who killed Selena, she's the one who plays the maid. And the mom starts scolding them because, of course, she's a mom. There's a mess. There's chips all over the place, which is really what she was upset about. Chung thought it was because he broke the dick off of a statue that apparently was her favorite part, and it wasn't. Wasn't she didn't even notice it? It was them crumbs. She was like, "Crumbs, get the crumbs off the table, you fucking crumb bums! Get these crumbs out of." So, cut to mom asking if any of them can help her tell Rosalita what to do around the house. Mouth, that little motherfucker Corey Feldman, probably the only gem in this movie for bilingual people everywhere. Because my man was telling her the wildest shit. She was telling Mouth to tell her about all of the stuff that Mr. Walsh keeps upstairs that he's curated over the years because he works at the local museum. My man Mouth told her in Spanish that upstairs in the attic is where Mr. Walsh keeps his sexual torture devices. Move on. She tells Rosalita, this is the pantry. This is where we keep all of our things. This is where all of the groceries and everything are going to go. And we just want this place to be swept and all that. You know what I mean? Real simple shit. Then Mouth tells her that if she doesn't do a good job, they will throw her in the basement for 3 days, no water and no food. And then the last thing that he tells her, they walk by some drawers, and Mrs. Walsh explains which clothing items go in which drawers, to which Mouth proceeds to tell Rosalita in Spanish that the cocaine goes in the top drawer, the heroin goes in the bottom drawer, and the marijuana goes in the middle drawer. Always separate the drugs. So, of course, Rosalita thinks she's in a house full of crazy people. And low key, I want to see her movie about what she went through. Because at the very beginning of the movie, when they're driving through the town, she almost gets run over. Like they tried to take her ass out. Anyway, after dude shows up looking for Mr. Walsh and doesn't find him, tries to give Brand the papers, you have kind of a somber moment between Brand and Mikey because they understand that they're going to be losing their home. They're not going to be able to be with their friends anymore, not be able to go to the same school anymore. But they go inside and they figure, well, maybe dad has some stuff up in the attic, some rich stuff, something that's worth something. So they run upstairs and they're going through all the shit up there, mouth fucking around, breaks a painting. They find a treasure map. They can't get to it though because it's inside of a frame. And rather than take the back off of the frame to get it out, they just hand it to Chunk's clumsy ass and he drops it. Turns out the map is a map of Astoria. So the kids, they figure they're going to go look for this treasure. They found out that one other person went looking for that treasure. His name was Chester Copperpot. Chester Copperpot went missing looking for that treasure. But the boys figured we're the Goonies. We know this place like the back of our hand. We can do it. Brand tells them no. Being the big brother, he tells them no. You guys aren't fucking going. Real simple. So, I don't know. I think they all are from the Stephen King universe. These motherfuckers are shining or something because they unspoken word communicated with each other. They bum rushed Brand while he was trying to do one of those stretch exercises, those resistance bands, but the ones that are metal. And they tie his ass to the chair, knock it over. They get outside, they hurry up, hop on their bikes, they let the air out of the bike tires on Brand's bike, and boom, they book it. Eventually, Brand gets free, realizes that the tires are flat on his bike. He thought they were popped, but he didn't care. He's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill all of them. He takes Data's sister's bike, this little tricycle, and he takes off. Then we're introduced to our residential dick of the movie, Troy. And Troy was being played by some asshole. Nah, he was played by Steve Anton. And wow, he does look like a douche now. But back then, he was a real piece of work. And then we get introduced to the two females of the movie, the two ladies, the leading ladies, Carrie Green playing Andy, and Martha Plimpton playing Stephanie or Steph. And for those of you who are familiar with Martha Plimpton, she is in that show Raising Hope. Been doing wonders on that show. Homie keeps trying to angle the mirror to look up her skirt. He's wild for that, especially with her homegirl sitting in the back seat, and her homegirl just keeps giggling like she's with it. I don't know. Steph was with it though. So they come across old boy Brand riding the tricycle. They're in a car and they're just like, "You need a ride?" Troy didn't like that. Troy didn't like Andy even offering him a ride in his car. So he was like, "Yeah, Walsh, let's give you a ride." He grabs dude's hand, holds it on the car, and then starts speeding. He tries to commit murder and almost succeeds because Brand ends up going off of a fucking cliff into the woods. Cut to the boys. They are walking down a path. Mouth's been translating the map because it's written in Spanish. And they have a key that almost looks like a skull that was along with the map. They hold it up to a certain spot, and these rocks match up to the holes on the key outside. So they know they're in the right direction. And it's 100 paces from where they're standing. 100 paces from where they're standing is this little restaurant in the middle of nowhere. They hear gunshots. My boy Chunk, his real name's Lawrence. Chunk's over there like, nah, man, those were gunshots. We need to go. Nobody wants to listen to him. He goes off to the side and he finds a car. Same car that the Fratellis were driving at the beginning of the movie. And they got bullet holes the size of matzo balls, is what the boy tells him. So Chunk's freaking out. They end up finding their way inside to where Mama Fratelli is the one who greets them. And from there, there's a conversation that happens between Robert Davi's character, Jake, and Mama Fratelli. In so many words, he asks her in Italian, who are these assholes? She tells him, oh, just some stupid kids. Tells him in English, these are customers. Italian, he responds, Ma, this isn't exactly a restaurant. She tells him to shut his mouth and do what she says. He says, all right, Ma. Boys, come in, sit down. They force them to sit down. They ask them what they want. Mikey, being the smart one, he asks for water. Mouth being mouth, gets up and starts asking for Villa Scalapini. I want a, I want a bottle of Vita, a 1981. Old girl pulls out a switchblade and says, all we serve is tongue. Started trying to pull Mouth's tongue out of his mouth. He deserved it. But Mikey freaks out. He's like, I gotta pee. You guys got a bathroom? Chunk's like, you don't want to use a bathroom in a place like this. Mama Fratelli's like, why not? What's wrong with my shit? He's like, nothing, it's cool. She tells him where to go, says, go down to the basement, stay to the right. He goes down into the basement. Jake is feeding old boy his little brother. See, they have a third brother that we don't actually get to see until this moment. The third brother, they call him Sloth. Pretty messed up. But the actor that played Sloth, don't believe I know his name. We'll come back to that later. Anyway, Sloth's in the basement. They're feeding him fish heads and potatoes and all this other nasty, gross stuff. And the messed up part is John Matzuzak. That's his name. Messed up part is where his brother put the plate, he can't even get to it, and he's chained to the wall. So Mikey goes in there and he kind of pushes the plate closer, close enough for Sloth to grab, and Sloth was so happy. He was over there screaming, but it scared Mikey, so Mikey ran upstairs. Guess who's waiting for him? Big bro snatches his ass up. They're like, we're leaving. He's like, nah, come on. Fratellis, they bounce, thinking that the kids left. They didn't leave. They just went a few paces away. They break in. And they go into the basement. When they get there, they manage to move past where Sloth is and get into this one area. It's supposed to be the lowest point that they can get to. And it's just a room. And Chunk's fat ass talking about, I can smell ice cream. I've never in my life been able to smell ice cream through a solid metal door, but somehow this chunky motherfucker can. He's happy they got all types of flavors. They got Rocky Road, they got chocolate, vanilla, and then he started saying shit like apple. Who the fuck eats apple ice cream? It sounds questionable, but it might be good. You never know. Come to find out, the gunshots that they heard was because the Fratellis had plugged the feds. One of them starts leaning all up on. He's leaning all on fucking Chunk. And it's terrible. His mouth's all open. That's the sound that it looks like is coming out of his mouth. They close the freezer with the body propped up in there, but Chunk's still in the freezer. He had dropped a jug of water earlier. It's like the jugs that we have now, except made of glass. They hear the water running to the lowest point, and the Fratellis come back. They get into an argument upstairs over a slice of pizza. The two brothers. Fucking Robert and Francis, they pull guns out on each other. Come on, we'll kill each other over the fucking pepperoni. Mom comes in, slaps the shit out of Robert. He's like, oh, he always took his side, Ma. You always liked him best. She said, that's right. The boys know that they can't go any further. They got the girls with them. They can't go back upstairs. These are dangerous people. So, under the fireplace, there's this little spot they already broke open. They have to go through there, and they head into the tunnels. As they're going through the tunnels, there's a bunch of rocks that are kind of laid out on the ground, pretty heavy. The reason being is because that trap was already set off by Chester Copperpot. They find his body. The only reason they were able to identify him was because of his ID. Fratellis head into the basement. And they end up finding Chunk. And they tell him that they're going to kill him if he doesn't fess up. And he starts telling them all these stories. He starts telling them about what's going on in the basement. But first, he starts off with what he did back in the third grade. My man is a menace, bro. He said he shaved the dog and put the hair on his face so that he could be the rabbi for the story of Moses, I believe. He also said that he went to a movie theater, he had got some fake puke, and went up to the balcony, and while everybody was watching the movie, he threw the puke over the edge and made a noise like, as he's telling these stories, Mama Fratelli looks not entertained at all. Francis is looking at him like, what the fuck? And Robert has the biggest smile on his face, talking about, I love this kid. Eventually, they get to a point, the kids, where they have to move some stuff. Messed up part is there's like a bunch of pipes in the way. One of the pipes bursts and starts pushing at this area. Turns out that it was actually a wall. So Bran goes over there, pushes it open. A bunch of bats come out of that, fly towards them, come out through the fireplace, and that's when the Fratellis realize that Chunk was telling the truth. Chunk manages to escape, but he gets captured again because he's not very good at escaping. They tie his ass up with Sloth. Sloth in there, he was over there watching like Superman and fucking swashbuckling movies, like Sinbad the Sailor. And they bond over a baby Ruth. Eventually, they escape together. But when they do, Chunk tries to call the cops. This is when we find out the full extent of Lawrence's fuckery. Because the cop already knew it was him and started telling him, oh, is it like that time? Those little furry animals, you pour water on them and then they turn into monsters? And then come to find out earlier in the movie, this man tried to say that Michael Jackson used the bathroom at his house. And they were like, oh, so what about that time? He's like, all right, man, it wasn't Michael Jackson. It was his sister. It's like, you motherfucker. You're that guy. The kids, they start moving through the different traps and the different obstacles that are in their way. At one point, Mikey almost loses his hand because of the key having to be put on these three rocks and have it rotated to open up another entrance. Even when they went to go take a piss, the stones where they were going to pee at, the way the rock face was set up, it looked like a skull. They were almost impaled on bamboo fucking sticks. Don't know where the Spanish got bamboo sticks from in Astoria, But hey, whatever. Data manages to save his own ass because he had the pincers of peril. That's not how he says it, but that's I'm pretty sure what they're called. It's like these chattering teeth, like those kind of teeth with a spring attached to them, and he launched them bitches off of his waist, and it actually worked. They use a rope in order to get down to where he is, and they make their way into the bone room. There's a big ass pipe organ made of bones, and there are music notes on the back of the map. They have to play the notes in order to get out of this area. As they're doing that, the Fratellis, because they've already been setting off traps, had an easy way to find out where they were. As they're getting towards where they're at, Andy, because she's the one who plays the piano or whatever, she had to be the one to play the bones. She played a couple of correct notes and an entrance started to open, but she also played some incorrect notes and the floor beneath them started to fall out, which made me really want to know who set this trap up. Who had the vision for this shit? They get through that part. Data ends up using a boxing glove that he had inside of his trench coat. I was going to say his attache, but his trench coat. And ends up hitting Robert and Francis and knocking them into the water. He also had used the slick shoes because they had to walk across a wooden beam. He used the slick shoes to put oil on there, so the first time they tried to get across, it slowed them down. Now they head into these tubes, almost like water slides, and it was so awesome. I mean, there were like spikes and shit above them that could have killed them if they were sitting up, but as long as they laid straight back, like a really dope water slide, they'd make it through no problem, and they did. I'm not going to talk about the octopus scene because that wasn't the version of the movie that I watched. I am aware of that version of the movie, which I thought was so much cooler. But that aside, they managed to get onto the ship, and Mikey's the one who finds his way into One Eyed Willie's chambers, the captain's chambers. Gold everywhere, jewels everywhere. The sight was amazing. I would have loved to have gotten my hands on a doubloon, not even to sell, just to have, you know what I mean? Just as like a memento, like I went on this adventure on some Nathan Drake type shit. But that aside, Telly's catch up. When they were taking all the gold and stuff, initially Mikey told his homies to leave Willie's cut. That belongs to him. Everything else is fair game. Fratelli's being greedy, took Willie's cut. And in doing so, they activated some failsafe to where the inside of the cavern started to collapse in on itself. Sloth shows up on some swashbuckling shit, cuts through the fucking the sail all the way down to the bottom. They're like, nah, come on, Slothy, let's talk about this. Robert and Francis trying to plead with him. My man rips open his shirt, has the Superman S on it. This motherfucker says, we're in trouble now, Francis. They tried to play double dutch with this man. He went for it at first because at the end of the day, he's still a child, but they tried to play him. And in doing so, he ended up tying their asses up, had them swinging around with the greatest of ease. Two dumb shits on the flying trapeze. It's funny. I liked it. Mama Fratelli tries to appeal to his better sense of childlike nature, and she fucks up over there singing Rockabye Baby. She says, fall, and he screams, fall! And she's like, oh, I never dropped you. Okay, maybe once or twice. And come to find out that's why his face and his head are shaped the way that it is because Mama Fratelli's a bitch and she dropped him. He ties her ass up too. He helps the kids escape after the Fratellis made some of them walk the plank. They start heading out. They realize that Candles they thought they picked up weren't actually candles, they were dynamite. So they toss it. It blows a hole in the wall, but in doing so, another boulder falls in front of that. So they're trapped. Sloth, being the absolute unit that he is, he goes over there and he lifts the boulder with his back. His back. He lifts it up. Kids start crawling through his legs or whatever. Chunk's the last one to go through. And they say their goodbyes. And they tell each other that they love each other. It's not how it sounds. It's actually a very tender moment. Sloth goes back for the Fratellis. Kids have been missing for like a day or two. So the police were looking for him. They find him on the beach. And all these people show up. Their parents show up. Even Troy and his fucking shitty dad show up with the papers for that Mr. Walsh to sign on some bullshit. But Rosalita's over there telling him not to sign. Don't sign the papers. Because inside of Mouth's marble bag, she found a bunch of gems. And I guess there was enough there for them to keep the house. Homie writs up the contract and tosses it, and then somebody else tosses more paper in the air. The Patellis, they made it out too. They were on the beach. And Chunk and the boys protect, including Brand, they all protect Sloth because they were going to take Sloth's ass out. Sloth grabbed one of the cops and lifted him up off the ground. Cop didn't want no smoke after that. And I guess Chunk just adopted Sloth. He's like, "You're going to come and stay with me now. You're going to come and stay with me." Sloth, no, Chunk. And then they get to see the pirate ship sail off into the distance. And happy ending. So that's basically the Goonies. I went into more detail with certain scenes than I did with others. There were certain things that I left out because I felt like they weren't important to the story. But the relationship between Bran and Mikey did improve. Bran didn't treat Mikey like his little brother anymore. He just treated him like his brother by the end of the movie. He didn't feel like he had to protect him because he knew that he was going to be all right. Even one of the minor details of the movie being that Mikey had asthma. By the time the end of the movie comes, he doesn't need his inhaler anymore. It's real testament to good cinema. You know what I mean? Like if they were to release that movie today in its current form, I would pay to go watch it in theaters. Even though I own the DVD, I'd pay to go watch it in theaters just so that I could have that experience because I didn't get that. I wasn't born in the 80s or 70s or whatever to be able to experience the movie at the age those kids were. I got to experience it much later on in life. So yeah, that was the Goonies. Let me know what your favorite part of the movie is. Let me know what you think. See you in the next one.